Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. Oh, now what adventures did we have today, Kim?
So this is our last day on Vancouver Island, and it ended up being quite spectacular. All we had to really do was return the bikes. Problem being, Duncan was about 40k away. I think 40 more, maybe more. So
Bit of a trek.
it would have been nice if we would have hired bikes from Victoria, but that didn't happen. So anyhow. This is our last day on Vancouver Island. We've been here for 10 days. We've rented our RV out for $3,500, spent $500 on 2 push bikes, and we put $450 worth of fuel into the RV, and it's been well worth it. It's been well worth spending the money. We just stopped at a little lookout between Victoria and where are we going to?
Duncan.
We're heading up to Duncan to return. We drove all the way up to Duncan to get rid of the bikes, and we did a little tour with the local guide there. Good old lady. She runs a free tour from the middle of Duncan, and she explained the token poles to us.
Yeah, so just the stories behind the totem poles and what they mean, what the different symbols represent. Yeah.
And it really brought it to life. I mean, and it was really interesting.
If you think of the totem poles as art, these poles, this project was begun in 1986 by the mayor of the city of Duncan, and the goal was to bring people into the town off the highway, as well as to showcase the native arts and the arts of local people.
It's quite a hip little town, isn't it?
It is. There's very interesting shops here. Yeah. Lots of music. During July, we have what's called the 39 Days of July, which is 39 days. Raven stealing the sun. When the world began, there was no sunlight. The sun was specially held by an old man, and he kept it in a box and he hid it away. So the world was dark and there was no light anywhere. And the raven was there, and the raven got very tired of running into things and flying into stuff and not being able to see anything. And so the raven decided he was going to steal the sun. And he thought of all different ways. And he finally decided he would transform. The raven is a trickster and a transformer. And so he transformed himself into a little boy. And he was kind of an odd-looking little raven boy. But he went to the daughter of the old man who had the sun. And he said, "I'm your son." And she said, "Why, of course you are," as we all would. and they took him into their home. And the raven boy kept trying to see what was in the box that the old man kept the sun in. And he wouldn't let him see, And finally one day, the old man was opening the box and the raven boy was there, and he said, "Oh, please, grandfather, won't you show me what's in the box?" And he said, "All right, I'll show you." And he said, "We could play with it a little bit." And so he took the sun out of the box and he threw it at the raven. And the raven boy turned into the raven again, and he grabbed the sun in his beak and he flew away, and he brought light to the world. So the raven...
Because we had a little bit more time, we walked around Duncan a bit and went to a few cafes, and it just blew us out. That, like, at one end of town they're all hillbillies, and then you go into this mall and there's just trendies galore. Oh, and tattoos. I mean, some of the young girls, I mean, tattoos up to here. Maybe I'm getting old or something, but yeah, it's a bit much for me. So then we left Duncan, we got rid of the bikes and we're just coming home. So it's not true what you thought, darling. They do go to school here.
I didn't. Boys.
And you wouldn't believe it. This happens to us all the time. We're in Duncan and I said it's time for lunch. So we've got some food.
Could be us dancing or just watching television. 'Cause you are my love language. I think it's time to say this. It's the little things you do that make me feel that you are all that I need. You get me. You look at me and say my dreams are also yours. Don't need to worry 'cause you'll always be my support. Leave me a note on the bed when I've had.
So this is our last day in the RV on Vancouver Island. And we're travelling between Duncan and Victoria. It's pretty good, isn't it? Oh man,
Yeah, I'm
didn't
very
I do
impressed.
well? Oh.
Very impressed.
And how's this? We found a river by ourselves. There's nobody else around. We seen one car in the car park and it was the Ranger. But anyhow, I'm licensed to fly my drone now, Canadian licence. And we've just been flying our drone here. Wait till you see the footage of this. It's absolutely stunning. Check that out. Check that out there. Imagine the drone going straight up that river.
And everything. Strangers. The other day I found your t-shirt.
So what would you like to talk about? The RV experience, the overall holiday, today the experience, whatever we did, or the location we're at now.
Today's experience. Today, we got up and we decided we didn't need to ride the bikes anywhere. It would be best if we just dropped them straight off at Duncan, which meant we needed to drive for about 45 minutes up to Duncan and drop the bikes off, because that's where we rented them from. We had envisaged coming back to Goldstream Provincial Park and all these other sort of things. We got up to Duncan and then we figured while we were there we may as well have a look at the totems. And we ended up doing a free tour of part of the totems with one of the volunteers from the museum. And it was fantastic because she explained all the totems and what the symbols meant. And then we decided...
Brought the totems to life, didn't it?
It really did bring the totems to life. They, it made so much more sense out of what was happening with them.
Now when you see one, you get an understanding what it's all about.
Yeah. And what the different animals represent and what they can represent. So then when that finished, we were getting a bit hungry. It was time for lunch. So we had a little scan around and Kim spotted some greenery on the Google Maps and went, oh, what's that? And it's the Cowichan River Provincial Park. So we scooted on over here. So that's been, I think it was about a 20-25 minute drive over to here. We had a really nice lunch. It's a great thing about having a fridge with you and everything that you need to make your lunch. And then we went down by the river and we flew Alice, and it's been delightful.
It has, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a really pleasant day when we sort of thought we weren't going to be able to do much. So yeah, I've been very happy with how today's turned out.
Continue straight.
So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Check the Australian flag out. This is where we have the War Memorial Ceremony on Anzac Day. Beautiful.